Welcome to the Journey to CEO Success, where we explore the real stories, challenges, and turning points that shape extraordinary leaders. I'm your co host, Melissa Saunders, and I'm joined by Patrick Tian, award winning serial entrepreneur, renowned CEO coach, and best selling author recognized by the Wall Street Journal, USA Today, and Amazon. Patrick's latest book, The Journey to CEO Success, is a #1 Amazon bestseller and the inspiration behind this podcast. Patrick, it's great to have you here as always. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Melissa. Always good to do a podcast.
And today you're going to love our guest. Her name is Dale Noelle. She's the founder and CEO of True Model Management. A former top model herself, she worked for designers and brands such as Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger, Ralph Lauren, and Victoria's Secret. Dale now leads a next-generation agency, redefining the industry. She's combining communities, technology, and a strong focus on model advocacy, wellness, and sustainability to build a more human-centered future for fashion. Featured in the New York Times, Forbes, and Bloomberg, Dale is reshaping what a modern agency looks like. And today we'll dive into her journey and what's driving that vision. Welcome to our show, Dale.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for coming on our show today. So let's start with you just taking a few minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, and just share a little bit about your current company. What does True Model Management actually do? And we'll get to your personal story later. But first, tell us about your company.
Sure. True Model Management is a model and influencer agency based in New York City. We have models and influencers around the world, but our headquarters is here in New York City. And I built True after experiencing firsthand how the modeling industry often prioritizes short-term wins over the long-term careers. And I always believed highly in education, and especially business education, and being transparent and being an advocate. Even when I was a model, I was an advocate for other models and myself, and I wasn't afraid to speak up. So it was never just about bookings to me. It was always about the community and providing service and making the industry a better place for everyone. As my life changed and I had to pivot from model to manager over health reasons, I started a platform that was more for leadership and education and compliance and creating empowerment for others. I thought I was going to do it 1 year as I was recovering from, near fatal or serious illness. And I figured it's easy. After 1 year and it's working, I'll continue. But if not, it's been anything but easy. But now we're here, and it has led me to many other avenues and verticals for the parent company, True Inc. We have a philanthropic arm, True Cares. We have community events and wellness events. And the main base of the business, though, is managing models and influencers.
Dale, thank you so much for sharing that. Stephen Covey talks about, the author of the 7 Habits author, right? He talked about how people often make the fool's choice, either A
Mhm.
or B. And he says, both of them are not exactly great choices. So, for me, I'm like, instead of A or B, why don't we try and create C, D, or E, which is really the best of A and the best of B to create option 3,
Mhm.
4, and 5. And usually it's that, third, fourth, fifth option that's really better. In your case, I think you exemplify not making that fool's choice. Your company is about both success and about joy. And that's what this podcast is about. This podcast is about helping CEOs find the magic in having both success and joy. And I think, when I spoke to you earlier, everything you've done just seems to have that thinking of, hey, this and that creates something more beautiful and better. And your company is an example of that. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, and I didn't really set out to be a CEO. As I said, it happened as an opportunity that was part tragedy, and I find make lemonade out of lemons. And the
Yes.
dream, though, once I started, was to build more of an ecosystem and not just a company. because to me, it's always about the people and the passion behind it. And my passion was then and is now connecting people. So whether I'm involved or not, but it just so happened that from all my years of modeling and meeting so many people, I stayed in touch with everyone and just found the commonalities between and would vet, models, vet designers, and help everyone find jobs. Because I was always busy enough with work. I was always fine. I worked really hard, but I always had plenty of jobs. So I shared what I had with others, and then I started training people even when it wasn't my business yet. So I was doing what I do now, but not getting paid for it. And I was
Yes.
doing another
Yes.
job full time.
Hey, that's the best, when you start getting paid for something that you are not getting paid for, that tells me you truly enjoy. You reminded me, I was coaching CEOs for about 4 years before I took a dime. Like before I
Mm,
actually got paid for what I do. And I can't remember that because when everybody asks me like, how long have you been doing this, Patrick? I'm like 25 years. And they'll be like, but your company's only 20 years old. I'm like, yeah, because first 4 or 5 years, I didn't get paid for that. So, hey, let's talk about your life now. Let's talk about your journey. Let's go back to your origin story. I love the phrase you said, lemons into lemonade. Take me back to the moment that everything changed. You were modeling, life was good. And then, unfortunately, you got sick, things shifted. What was it like? What was your mindset that allowed you to, not get stuck in, frankly, a lot of it gets stuck in self-pity, right? But how did you
hmm
not get stuck in that? How did you go in? How did you do that?
Well, my situation, there was a sense of urgency. And I had, let's see, I was a successful model. I had quite the jet setter life. Every moment of my day was accounted for. And I was definitely a very like work oriented person and travel, travel. It was pretty nonstop and I thrived on it. But everything came to a halt when I found out I was unexpectedly pregnant. And then very shortly after, I was told that I had cancer.
Mm,
And because I was pregnant, they couldn't really properly test me. They just said I had to go straight to the hospital, get surgery, and I was going to be out of commission, had to lose my job basically overnight. And luckily, I had been working with one manager who was managing my whole career at the time. So I was able to jump right into starting a business because I had assistance and had the connections. And I can't say it was overnight, but close to it. I remember just models like it's very similar to your story that for about 4 or 5 years, maybe longer, there were four models that I was regularly getting work for. And sometimes even bringing the invoice in my backpack to the client when they would tell me, oh, so and so didn't invoice me. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll, bring one tomorrow for you. And so that's when people are asking me for it. And everything in my life, I feel, happens organically. And
yeah,
it wasn't always that way because I was always trying to dot my I, cross my T's. I was an ultra perfectionist and it really held me back. And
yeah,
when I got sick and they just said, okay, drop everything. You have to go to the hospital. I didn't have time to think. And for me, I'm always very solution oriented and I don't feel bad for myself. I have a lot of empathy and I want to feeling bad for other people all the times, but if bad things happen to me, I would say it's the most time I'm focused because I'm not sure if it's ADD or what I have that like I could think of a million things at once. I, could get involved in, I'm a very yes person. But when push came to shove and my life was on the line, all I did was, how am I going to fix this? So
yeah,
I worked very fast. Luckily, I had wonderful friends and some were in the medical community. I operated in like a business mode. I was like spreadsheets everywhere, living at FedEx, like, FedExing my slides all over the world, with all my cells. I bought as much as I could of samples of tissue of my body so many people could review it at once. And, I made some really good decisions fast and I got lucky with doctors and teams that they put together for my type of treatment. And
yeah.
that's how it all started.
Yeah, I mean, this podcast is not about how to get out of sickness. However, I will say one key lesson I've learned from both you and all my friends who've had really terrible illnesses is that they were their own advocates. At the end of the day,
Mm,
they didn't wait around for they weren't helpless victims is how I put it. They were their own
yes.
advocates. Did their research. They did the stuff that you just said. They all have a slightly different story, but at the end of the day, it sounds just like what you just said. They
Hmm.
were FedExing stuff. One of my friends hired a staff that worked for him to research his
Smart.
problem. And yeah, so congratulations. That was now. I'm probably going to ask the obvious question, but you are perfectly fine now, right? Like medically speaking,
Yes.
you're yeah, okay,
Yes. Since
yeah,
that time, I
yeah,
had cancer 2 times after that and other illnesses. So my medical journey is quite unique and very smart. Doctors love working with me and others run from me, but I am perfectly healthy. Everything is great. I have tons of energy and health is a big part of my focus. And I can't say I'm
yeah.
perfect at my eating and my sleeping and all of that, but I do the best
You'll
that I
never be
can. And I do
perfect. You'll
think
never
that,
be perfect. Yeah,
yeah, and I do.
but doctors who run from you, you don't want to work with them anyway because that means they are not self I don't know how to put it. They don't have enough self strength to take input from others,
Yes,
frankly. Like for me, if I'm a
yes,
doctor, if you have a better idea, I like to learn that now. So,
absolutely.
hey, True is such an interesting company because I think about what you've done here. True was built on an open door policy, all sizes, shapes, ethnicities. I mean, it was like truly open when that wasn't even a thing back then, right? So tell
Correct.
me about why, how did that kind of core value and philosophy get into your company?
Well, the core values came from my own personal values. And when I started so quickly, I didn't really have time to plan. If anything, I was leaving the industry and didn't plan on staying in it. I was weaning myself off of modeling at the time. But I would say the leadership evolved from survival and responsibility and then, stewardship first. So I invited everyone the way I invite everyone into my home, and I have such a vast variety of friends and people in my family, whether it's personalities, social, economical, ethnic. We have everyone. My home is kind of like the UN with a revolving door policy. People are always coming to stay. So when I started the company, we were interviewing 100 people a day and I was like, wow, I think this person's beautiful, but there were no requests for that type. And people would come to me and say, oh, I got turned down by everyone. How much weight do I have to lose? And I was like, well, we have fit modeling and they work with multiple sizes. I think
Yeah,
that we could try this. So I would say it started with the fit modeling division with the diversity. We're definitely offering it there first. And then the campaigns and the designers needing print models noticed how beautiful and smart a lot of the fit models were.
mhm.
And we very quickly opened a print division. So everything happened and flowed organically. If it was requested, we fulfilled it, whether we had it
Yeah.
at the moment
Well,
or not.
what's really interesting what you said. It's a few lessons that I've really picked up from you that I want to just highlight for our audience. One is you worked from a place of your values. So even when pushing this, even during a crisis, lots of times I think people make the mistake of when they're in a crisis, they go, "Well, I don't have time to do what I'm passionate about or to do what I care about." No, but in your case, in your crises, you actually pulled from your passions, pulled from people that care about you, that you cared about, and what's interesting is, you also in the models that you're working with, you didn't try and make them conform. You tried to actually say, okay, well, this is you. What's a better fit for you? Like, how do you become the best version of yourself as a model? And how do I find opportunities for you that fit you best? And I think that's beautiful. That's wonderful.
Yeah, that's so funny. You didn't even know that. But I always say that we want to bring out the best version of you because everyone came in saying, how do I have to change to work with you? Or some people would say
Yes.
for you, which is the opposite. I said, I'm here to work for you. I need to know what makes you tick. Like, even when I interview people to work for the company, employees, I know we have to write the job description. We have to put out the ad. We have to email people, tell them what roles and tasks we need to fill. But to me, it's all about the person and what's that special uniqueness about you. And let's find what brings you joy and value. And
Yeah.
always looking for long-term relationships and not just, okay, fill this role and it's over. I feel the longevity and the happiness in life is when you're working with people that, love you, appreciate you, see the value in what you bring to the table, not how you could make up something to present to them. So when I thought, I was going with what I thought was interesting or unique, and a lot of them, the ones that we signed early on and even now, might not be the look that people are looking or that clients are looking for, but they have the energy, the positivity, the passion that when you meet them, it's hard to get them in the door sometimes, but the ones that we believed in, once we get them in the door to meet a client, they were able to bring it around and create a type of niche for themselves. So there were a
Mm.
couple that were blown away that we even signed them. And now one of them I have in my mind, she's been with us since almost the beginning. And she does every type of modeling there is and acting. And she has a very fulfilling career on all levels. That brings me joy when I can see if someone, especially the ones that come to us and they're either, you know, seeking financial independence or they're in a bad relationship or something that we can help, build confidence. We're very big on supporting to help give confidence and to teach, the little nuances of the business so that they can work as a business.
Your company's name, True, it is so perfect for you, because like it appears to me that you actively seek feedback from your team. You actively pursue serving other people. You actively try to help them become the best versions of themselves. You help source work that fits them well. So you're truly trying to figure out how to and when you do all that, it brings out the truth in people. And that's why I think the name of your company, whether you were intelligent enough to
Mhm.
design it that way or not, is just so perfect for
Yep.
how you work with people, how you do your work, how you influence people's lives, and how you make their lives better. Congratulations.
Because I was thinking like I'm an honest person, people in the industry are always like,
Yeah.
oh, well, Dale's honest, she's true to size. I'm always, consistent and true in the fit modeling world and production for making clothes. It's a pattern making term. So there were a lot of meanings and levels to, and I always love when there's more than one meaning.
Yeah. You are such a positive person. Where'd you get that from? This is almost radical positivity. Where'd you get this from?
That is definitely from my father and his mother or his parents, because when I was younger, I wasn't always so positive. Younger, my sister and I would be annoyed at my dad because he was so positive. It was like something terrible was happening, or we thought it was terrible as kids. And he's like, "Isn't this great?" He'd go on and always singing songs, and like something terrible happened. Like, Dad, that's awful. He's like, "It's great. No, it's part of the journey. It's good. We're going to do this. We're going to do that." And like our house, I'm first generation. He's from Italy. And, he came over on the boat and his name's on Ellis Island and everything. And he always talks about, well, I
Wow.
had to walk 20 miles to school with no shoes and I had to eat a treat was rotten chocolate. Like he'd have all these stories. So, and everything growing up, we had to take care of. It's like, okay, soccer was not popular mainstream like it is today, but our family played and watched soccer and went to the Cosmos games with Pele and Beckenbauer, Canalia, all that.
Yes.
But when I got my first soccer ball, it's presented and it's like, okay, this has to last your entire lifetime. So saddle soap it every day and clean it. Like we had to clean everything and store things properly. And so every time there was fun, there was so much cleaning and storage afterwards that till this day, I'm always like, okay, sometimes they call me the janitor at the office because I'm always like, and for me, I feel like there's no job that, I wouldn't do.
Yes.
Uh, I guess it comes from, and that's probably how I got my good work ethic too. So it was modeled behavior from my parents, and as I got older, and my mom too, she was very funny and positive, but not to the extent that my dad. He's to the extreme. Till this day, he's 84, and he is. If you looked at him, first of all, when we're walking around, they think that he's my husband because he looks so young, and his he just glows. He just, working all he does a lot of hard work, and he's like, "Oh, hard work's good for you, and exercise is great for you." And he was on the whole breathing. We hire breathwork coaches now to come to
Yes,
True and
yes,
to model. And I'm like, my dad, my whole life. He's like, breathe. He would teach us how to breathe. We're like, Dad, of course we're breathing. We're alive. Leave us alone.
yeah.
All these things that
So he
he was
must be
teaching
like
us.
slow down your breath, box breathing, all that wonderful breathing techniques, right? I'm
Yeah,
guessing.
yeah, he's all about that. So I have him to thank for that. He's fantastic.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's yeah, you're just so positive. I love to meet your dad one day. Hey, I gotta bring up this story that we talked about. Your mugs. Your mugs are
Ah!
full of memories. Show us one of them. Tell us a little bit
Oh
about your
my
mug.
gosh, I have mugs around me all the time because I'm a
Yeah.
coffee drinker and a tea drinker. So right now I have this mug. I'm gonna take some. This one. Well, first of all, I should probably tell you we get Christmas lists, holiday lists going around our house for all the kids. So everyone emails, want this toy, want that, and the adults do it too. So I never have a list, but it's always known that my gift is photos on mugs or photos on something tangible I have around my house. So this one was from one of my family members, and it's my family on camels in Morocco, making chocolate in Spain together. My daughter and I were on the Times Square billboard, and that was the picture. On a boat for my mom's birthday. Just random, different fun family. And actually, I have my coffee. No, this one's my tea one now, but this was my coffee one this morning. So yeah, I line them up throughout the day. Yeah, daughter horseback riding, wave runners, all kinds of fun activities.
Yeah. And so what you've done, whether you planned it or not, is you've taken your joy, you've expressed it through these photos, and now you've surrounded yourself with that. Even in your habit, of taking these photos, putting them on mugs, you've surrounded yourself with joy. Like you are constantly reminded, I'm guessing, by your environment how joyful your life is.
Yeah, I am very big on photos of my mugs and little inspirational types. I'm very big on quotes. I've always loved that. I used to put them up all over my apartment. Now I just have some little signs here and there, but I like giving cards to people. I still handwrite cards. I'm very supportive and try to instill it in my daughter to give handmade gifts. So any gift that we give, even if it's just a small little something or just putting a sticky note added to something that, you really thought about it. It's not just like clicking on the Amazon button and getting it, which that is great too. And I absolutely do that all the time. But you always wanted something else there that was a little bit of extra thought and good memory. Yeah, I'm all about memories. Like I've never been a collector of things as far as, purses, shoes, things like that. I mean, I have a lot of stuff around my house. I'm the person who's like, everyone loves to travel with me because I might have a small bag, but there's everything in there. So I like to be prepared at any moment. But as
Yes,
far as
of course you do.
things and status symbols, I could not care less. If anything, I'm turned off by that. And I want memories and things I can take with me, anywhere I am, even if I have nothing on my back.
That's great. A model who's turned off by status symbols. That's
Sorry,
awesome.
we still love your campaigns.
That's right. That's right. I love it. Hey, I can talk to you all day, but this podcast, we're coming to a close, and this podcast is all about helping CEOs have both joy and success, and you really embody both joy and success together. And you live, like I said earlier, Covey's teaching of don't make the fool's choice. Is it A or B? And you've been able to go, no, it's A and B, man. It's A and B. I'm going to solve this problem, and I'm going to help people. I'm going to create this agency, and I'm going to help all kinds of people. I'm going to do it with, I may be sick, but hey, I'm going to do it with what I love and my passion. So you really embody that. And so as we close out, this podcast is to help our CEO friends have a more joyful and successful life. What last piece of advice would you like to leave with them so that they can learn from you and have a more joyful and successful life?
Well, I think number one, and this comes from my father and my upbringing too, was always invest in your health like it's your biggest asset. Because if you don't have your health, you have nothing. And it's kind of like being on the airplane, like give yourself oxygen first and then help the others.
Mm.
And then once you are energetic and strong, help other people, because the world is about others. It's not about yourself. So
Mm.
I really believe that if more people in the world thought about what everyone else's needs are and tried to bring people together, the world would be a better place. It's not about winning, something. It's not like the trophy, and it's not, making chaos. It's like build some good habits and systems, and, make choices for the long term and not just today. And you can do that while you're being spontaneous, because I find that if you're following your joy, your passion, I find when do things organically and I'm bringing good people around me and we come up with ideas and get things done, that's when I did the most business, not even trying. It's like when I'm by myself and I'm writing a plan, and I'm doing this and I'm struggling over that. I'm in a bad mood because, yes, I am a positive person overall, but I get in a mood, and
Yeah.
you'll see it on my face. I can't, my heart's on my sleeve and I just call it like I see it. So, always what mood I'm in. So, I would say also stay curious. There's so many things. I'm like, oh, we need an hour just talking about that. Like, I feel I'm very curious and I'm always asking why and how to make things better. And I feel like when people maybe what they call criticize you or say something, take everything that someone says and filter it and take the good out of it. And if there's something in there that you can improve yourself, work on improving yourself. And nobody's perfect. You shouldn't be striving to be perfect, and be the best version of yourself. What you say in the beginning, it's one of my lines too.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dale. Hey, Melissa, back to you.
Yeah, Dale, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your journey and your positivity and your mugs with us.
Thank you.
And thanks to all of you for tuning in today to the Journey to CEO Success. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and join us next time for another conversation with the CEO about what it takes to really grow a business and lead well. Until next time, bye.